Hello everyone, I myself is Srirang Lohar and I am here with another presentation on international trade documents related to international logistics management. I am a student of SAS Institute of Management Studies and I am going to give a brief presentation on international trade documents. So let's get started. Sorry. So with introduction, export and import documents lies at the heart of the international trade transactions. It provides exporters and importers with an accounting record, shipping and logistic companies with instructions of what to do with freight information, and banks with instructions and accounting tools for collecting payments. Export documents are more complex than those used for domestic sales due to the special characteristics of international trades, geographical distance, different custom laws, different means of transport, greater risks, etc. The documents required for each shipment will depend on the condition of sale, incoterms agreed between sellers and buyers. So here it is, the export and import documents gives a detailed idea of shipping, logistic companies, bank details, freight information, accounting records, etc. And it is also important as rules and regulations vary from country to country, geographical conditions vary from country to country, currencies vary from country to country. So that's why international trade documents are a very important point. So the top documents used in international trades are as follows. It includes purchase order, CMR document, commercial invoice, air bill, packaging list, bill of lading, letter of credit, multimodal bill of lading, certificate of origin, inspection certificate. So let's discuss all these topics one by one briefly. So the first one, international purchase order. Usually international transactions are based on the buyer's purchase order. Issuance of an international purchase order is normally preceded by an exchange of information between exporter and importer with respect to the price, quality and quantity of products, etc. The international purchase order or a may constitute a binding offer or a binding acceptance depending upon the circumstances. Usually, in the international transaction involving a large commercial buyer, the purchase order is often the main contract form and constitutes the first legally binding offer. In such cases, the seller's signature of purchase order will constitute the acceptance of the transaction. So, the purchase order is the main document which is a deal between the customer or and the manufacturer or the company which is going to provide services. So it is a complete record about the products, quality, quantity, price, etc. etc. So these documents are very important in the transactions or trade. So next one, international commercial invoice. So, International Commercial Invoice is an administrative document which contains all the information about the international sale, the item, quantity, price for products, services sold, delivery and payment conditions, as well as the taxes and other expenses that might be included in the sale are detailed in the International Commercial Invoice. So, the points included in commercial invoices, which is international standard, is are as follows, as we discussed: quantity, price of products, services sold, delivery and payment conditions, etc. So these are all the points should be considered in an international invoice. The importer with the original of the international commercial invoices declares to the tax authority of his country the amount that it must pay to who it is going to pay and the agreed means of payment. For the exporter, this document means a documentary evidence of sale that it has made in a foreign market. So as it says, it is a proof or documentary evidence of the sale that the manufacturer has made in the foreign market. So it is a kind of proof document. So next one, packing list. The packing list is more detailed version of the commercial invoice but without price information. It must include inter alia the following: invoice number, quantity, description of goods, weight of goods, number of packages, and shipping marks and numbers. So all these points should be included in the packing list except price. Price is included in commercial invoice, and packing list mainly gives the idea of the weight or the amount of goods that are packed, and the you can say prefixes used or the catalog number used for each product to identify. So packing list should include weight of goods, number of packages, shipping marks, numbers, description of quantity, etc., description of goods, etc. A copy of packing list is often attached to the shipment itself, and another copy is sent directly to the consignee to assist in the checking the shipment when received. So one copy is attached to the container, you can say, which is going to be shipped, and one copy is sent to the site or the receiver where he can verify whether the right quantity is been sent or there is no mis uh, misconduct in the way of transport. So that this is how the process works. Irrevocable letter of credit, L/C. In an irrevocable letter of credit, the importer's bank agrees to the exporter called the beneficiary that the exporter will get paid if it can prove it has shipped the proper goods by providing the corresponding documents required by the letter of credit. Exporters like letter of credit because the advance assurement of payment ensures the seller that it will not waste time preparing or shipping an order to a buyer who ultimately refuses to accept or pay for goods. In an irrevocable letter of credit cannot be amended or cancelled without the consent of parties. So here it is, the importer bank agrees to export, called the beneficiary. It will get paid when it has shipped the proper goods by providing corresponding documents. So it is a kind of agreement between the customer and the manufacturer regarding the payment. So whenever the goods are packed, the customer issues a certain amount of payment so that there should be some assurity in the business and there should not be any uh, the transaction should not be without trust or something like that. CMR document. The CMR transport document is an international consignment note used by drivers, operators, and forwarders alike that governs the responsibilities and liabilities of the parties to a contract for the carriage of goods by road internationally. The carrier usually completes the form, but the sender, in other words, the exporter, is responsible for the accuracy of the information and must sign the form when the goods are collected. The consignee will also sign the form on delivery, which is essential for the carriers to be able to confirm the delivery of goods and to justify the payment. So here they are talking about the CMR document, or you can say the transport document. So CMR document is a document which is required by the driver or on the way transport with the container, whether just to verify whether the goods are legally approved or the quantities are right or the weight is as per legal norms, etc., etc. So the CMR documents is, in other words, the exporter is responsible for the accuracy of the information, means the one who sends the goods is responsible for the accuracy of the uh, information of the packagings or the products to be sent. it is the consignee will also sign the form on delivery, which is essential for the carrier to be able to confirm the delivery of goods and justify the payments for its service. So the next one, bill of lading. A bill of lading is a document issued by the agent of a carrier to a shipper, signed by the captain, agent, or owner of a vessel, furnishing written evidence regarding receipt of goods, the condition on which transportation is made, contract of carriage, and the engagement to deliver goods at the prescribed port of destination to the lawful holder of the bill of lading. A bill of lading is therefore both a receipt for merchandise and a contract to deliver it to as a freight. There are a number of different types of bill of lading and number of regulations that relate to them as a group of documents. So bill of lading is basically a document given by the transporter, you can say the truck owner, or you can say the ship captain or the transport company, to the manufacturer or the exporter regarding the conditions of the system they are using, the condition of ship, the condition of the truck, uh, the time it will be required to transport the product, uh, the lawful, the legal activities carried out by the transport company, etc. etc. So, such a document is called Bill of Lading. Airway Bill, AWB. An airway bill is a non negotiable transport document covering transport of cargo from airport to airport. The airway bill must name a consignee who can be the buyer, and it should not be required to be issued to order and or to be endorsed, as it is not a title of property of the merchandise. Since it is not negotiable and it does not evidence title to the goods, in order to maintain some control of goods not paid for the cash in evidence, seller often consigns air shipment to their sales agents or freight forwarders agents in the buyer's country. Multi-modal bill of lading. A multi-modal bill of lading is an international transport document covering two or more modes of transport, such as shipping by road and by sea. It is also used as a carrier contract and receipt that the goods have been received when it is issued to the order. The multi-modal bill of lading is a title of ownership of the goods and can therefore be negotiated. Only authorized forwarders integrated into FIATA, International Federation of Freight Forwarders Association, can issue this document. It is addressed to the exporter, multimodal transport operators on destination country, and the importer. So this gives information of multimodal bill of lading. Certificate of origin. The certificate of origin certifies the country in which the goods originated or in which the preponderance of manufacturing or value was added. It also constitutes a declaration by the exporter. Virtually every country in the world considers the origin of imported goods when determining what duty will be assessed on the goods. Nevertheless, the exporter own certification on company letterhead will suffice. In most countries, chambers of commerce are the key agent in the delivery of certificate or origin. However, in some countries, these privileges may be extended to some other entities such as ministries or customs authorities. Inspection certificate. The inspection certificate for pre-shipment inspection is a document issued by an authority indicating that the goods have been inspected, typically according to a set of industry, customer, government, or carrier specification prior to shipment and the result of inspection. Inspection certificates are generally obtained from neutral testing organizations, example, a government entity or an independent service company such as SGS or OSGS or Bureau Veritas. In some cases, the inspection certificate can come from the manufacturer or shipper, but not from the forward or logistic firm. So here they're talking about the inspection certificate of the product to be manufactured or to be sent to the exporter or the customer. The certificate is issued by a neutral testing organization, which can be a government entity or a third party company, like they have given the example of SGS Bureau Veritas. So it gives the satisfaction to the customer that the products and are properly inspected by the third party members. So this is it for today. This was a brief introduction on what are the basic documents required for international trade. Thank you.